Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to this special cup of coffee with yours truly, Another Dragon. Independent artist, independent activist, independent athlete. Triple A plus other dimensions to that Trinity Universal Spiritual Teaching student, geopolitical analyst and theorist, world peace advocate, and of course, yours truly, the world's greatest living dancing millennial rainbow poet. On this morning, 11:24 a.m. in the morning in Hawk Island, Montreal. This is a special cup of coffee with yours truly, Dragon. Go recovery, go recovery, go recovery, go is the main title, main theme of this morning. And of course, I'm referring to the Atlantic Canada, my brothers and sisters. Dawe, which is east. So I'm looking east now. I'm imagining all those trees, all that the trees that have fallen on the sidewalks, the trees that have fallen on the highways, the trees that have fallen on the houses. How via brains and muscle, via with brains and muscle, with brains and muscle, my brothers and sisters, of course, are operating and putting in labor work and work and sweat. That way, a few hundred miles and about a few hundred kilometers from Hawk Island, Montreal is, of course, New Brunswick, Labrador, Newfoundland, Prince Edward Island, and of course, Nova Scotia. And I've had, of course, the honor a few years ago to go on a trip across Canada, east and west. My anonymous sister, the best trip that I ever had, at least in this lifetime, the best trip that I ever had, and I'm of course willing to do it again with my artistic projects, with my athletic projects, with my of course activist projects, and everything that I do as an independent artist, independent activist, independent athlete. Yours truly, the people's athlete, cheering on the workers in those steel toe boots. Radio salute in those steel toe boots. Dragon gonna rock and roll for you. Dragon's gonna clap for you. Go workers, Nova Scotia, go. Dragon don't need a guitar. Just gonna black with my hands. Gonna make some noise. Make some noise, Canada. Make some noise, Canada. Whoever listens to this, ain't nobody watching, but that's okay. Gonna keep on rock and rolling. Carpe diem it every day. Carpe diem it every day. Gonna carpe diem every day as this 11:26 a.m. Most important thing is that I encourage you all, please increase in hygiene in public. Please increase in hygiene in public. Please increase in hygiene in public. Wash and disinfect your hands often with soap and water or hand sanitizer, as your stool is open carrying the hand sanitizer whenever I go around. Yesterday I went on a march. It was a more than 3 hours and a half march in Hawk Island roundabout. Put some videos that I filmed, of course, with my smartphone, and I'm gonna take a little shout out moment to thank the hundreds, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of workers, past, present, and future of Hydro Quebec, to thanks of whom, of course, I'm doing this video, live streaming my philosophies, my theories, my advocacy, my meditations. That I'm doing this live stream on this video that is clean, renewable, zero pollution energy, zero emission, zero pollution energy that I'm utilizing on this smartphone, that I'm doing the live stream on Facebook, and of course on my laptop, which I've plugged and charged earlier this morning with clean, renewable, zero pollution energy and the light above my head to illuminate my face, to illuminate me a little bit so I'm not completely in the dark, and to see what I'm doing. And of course, it's clean, renewable, zero pollution energy, and 63 dams, hydro plants, hydro dams, the hydroelectric electricity, hydropower dams made of steel and cement. 63 of them across this Label province, east, west, north, south of yours truly's Hawk Island, Montreal, right here in Hawk Island, Montreal, the big metropolis. All the lights that are being used, even for my coffee machine. And speaking of coffee, made it just perfect black for me, because during the week I drink it black, during the weekend I drink it with some milk and some sugar. Please, to the workers of Nova Scotia in relief efforts, workers of New Brunswick, relief efforts for those in Newfoundland, for those on Prince Edward Island, calling on the big Canadian Tim Hortons to credit them for the whole duration. Free coffee, credit them for the whole duration there. Free coffee and bagels and whatever else they need. The food for the workers. I'm calling, doing now on live stream. I'm calling, of course, on the big one, because it's the major corporation, and in terms of this we got to cross solidarity between the public and the private. and of course have private and public partnerships, such as is my initiative called the Dragan Army Initiative that I'm calling All Willingly Loving with. So before I digress, I'm gonna say thank you, love you, kiss you, past those in the past for more since the 1920s. We're gonna go back in Quebec's history as a philosopher, a Quebecer myself, who speaks French and loves the French language and writes poetry and philosophy in French. And pour la belle province, faut que ça danse. Tapez-moi des mains puis des billets, ouais, faut que ça danse. And from my understanding, of course, Hydro-Quebec in Quebec, we sent, of course, some convoys, Hydro-Quebec carts, those big machines, and that were that were built, and of course do reparations and maintenance. Because brothers and sisters, repairing, such as after relief efforts, it requires some brains and some muscle, like a muscle to cut those trees with a saw, Zzz. Love you, kiss you, hug you. Those cutting the trees, clearing the roads that way, which is not far. Took me and my anonymous sister 25 hours by train, 25 hours by train, 25 hours by train. So coast to coast, my policy, of course, for the collective North American civilization, my principal policy for the collective North American civilization, my principal protocol policy for the collective North American civilization is that we have one border, two oceans. We got one border, two oceans. We got one border, two oceans, and that embodies the philosophy, the culture, the thing that I have in those words. How I relate myself as being a North American, a Canadian, a Quebecer, and of course a citizen of the world, flying Rainbow Dragon. But gotta act local, think global, and of course do what I can here. And of course, yours truly is open for business. So thank you, love you, kiss you, past, present, and future. Credit future workers of Hydro-Quebec with kisses and hugs. Anybody who's a farmer, farmers, because y'all rock, because everybody gotta eat. Farmers, truckers, Hydro-Quebec workers, construction workers. Anytime you gotta holla, and yours truly will, of course, and is ready to give hugs, kisses anywhere, anytime, hugs and kisses anywhere, anytime, hugs and kisses anywhere, anytime, hugs and kisses anywhere, anytime. Just holla Dragon, Rainbow Dragon, or Adrian Hanna, Dragon, love you, Can I get some of those kisses, some of those hugs, And I might ask you if you're vaccinated, and I might ask you, might get offended. I'm gonna ask you probably if you're vaccinated and if you washed your hands today, because hygiene is important for me. Hygiene is important for me. And yes, I do get dirty. I'm not perfect. Don't play it self-righteous. I got some issues, got some vices, got some lusts, but I am for the greater good. I am, of course, for the greater good. And I am open for business. I do admit that also for myself. I'm not totally selfless. Floating on clouds and or spirituality. I do, of course, my philosophy is that the body is a temple for pleasure and purpose, and investing in the body is a thing that I've been doing, and I've proud to have created my own workout training program. And I imagine it those how if it would have been mass finance, as I'm calling for the mass financing thereof, how in an emergency situation such as Fiona, the storm, of course, cause damage. So if we are fitter physically, how we can better address such issues. If you are fitter physically or physical, and goes mind, body, and spirit, and with a mental health, it does great wonders. I have been for years calling, so I've been embarked on my fitness journey, and I've lost more than 77 pounds, way more than 77 pounds now. That was a few months ago, not 77 pounds, but I got fit, came out of the depression, was depressed, suicidal, and I've conquered depression. There's blood, sweat, and tears, and of course, created my own workout training program, which I'm looking for volunteers for the app. But I'm imagining if fellow citizens of mass financing would have happened, such as I wished, since I've been calling for it for years now, and more stronger, more advocacy, more intense during COVID, and how it would have been fitter if would have been fitter, of course. It would have had myself included. I'm getting fitter as the people's athlete, but if we would have had the implementation of the mass incentivization and the mass offering of incentives for people to work out, train, exercise, and cross Canada, coast to coast, and beyond, binational, across the collective North American civilization. How, of course, if my training program would have been done by many citizens, of course, it could have been fitter to do more the relief work that's required, of course, to move debris, to move the trucks, to move, of course, all the trees. How many trees have fallen? So now I'm meditating on my brothers and sisters, some of my fellow Canadians who are in the armed forces, of course, in the military, who have been deployed there. Since I like to offer more than blah blah blah, because blah 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 doesn't only XYZ. Doesn't only XYZ, only goes a certain distance, only goes a certain distance. As much as a philosopher, me, academic, independent student, scholar of history, wars, geopolitics, and civilizations with complex dynamics of geopolitical analysis, of which I am excellent good at, super, while admitting that at some things I am mediocre, admitting that at some things I am average, at other things I am so-so. So while admitting that I am so-so at other things, comme ci, comme ça, dans des certain choses, in certain things, I am great, super excellent at geopolitical analysis, while I admit I'm mediocre average at so-so at other things. Sometimes these are things hard to admit, and where we have the skills, the competencies, myself as the people's doctor, the people's doctor, the people's doctor is independent student, scholar and academic, who I've read and studied and now applied all that I'm learning. I'm learning constantly, constant education, all things of nature and civilization. There's so much things to learn, but I do know this, that brains and muscle and brains is required for us to build, maintain, or upgrade civilization. Okay, no problem. So, thanks, bro. Thank you very much. You too, brother. Stay safe out there. I'll go get that. In the kitchen? I think it's your black and boxes. It doesn't. It says 27 pounds. Is there any place somewhere there? I can put it on top of here. Okay, wait a minute. This table. That's it. Make room here somewhere. If you make space, I can bring it back. Was it a mailbox or was it a delivery? Pure later. Why is it trying to help you? Never does. Pure later. You drank. Was it a black guy or a white guy? I don't know. I didn't notice. You said thank you. Yeah, I said thank you, brother. Yeah, stay safe out there. No, because she was with the back. Oh. So don't know. Because my ex works there. That's why I'm wondering. The only reason why I asked that. Okay. Right. So yours truly on this morning, it requires some brains and some muscle. Some brains and some muscle. The building, maintaining of civilization. The building, upgrading, or maintaining of civilization will requires. Yeah, it's wrapped in black. The black. What's? Yeah. And it's well wrapped for sure. So the building, the upgrading, and the maintenance of civil. Okay, good for you. So the building and maintaining of civilization will requires brains and muscle. Some brains and muscle, brains and muscle. XYZ now doing the scenarios. First, I'm gonna do it. Thank you, love you, kiss you. Farmers, truckers, butchers, bakers, grocery store clerks, and of course workers, past, present, and future of Hydro Quebec who Brains and muscle build, maintain, or upgraded civilization. With brains and muscle, build civilization, and we're upgraded civilization with building or maintaining, hopefully, the civilization that we built. And please, 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 if you do make a million on the stock market today, give 10% for food security, 10% for LGBTQ youth sports, 10% for women's sports leagues, and 10% for environmental protection. If you open the stock market, has been now for 2 hours and 9 minutes. It's 11:39 a.m. in Hawk Island, Montreal. It's 11:39 a.m. in Hawk Island, Montreal. It's 11:39 a.m. in Hawk Island, Montreal. So that means that on the East Coast in New York, it's also the same time zone, so it's still 11:39. So Wall Street, Wall Street, Wall Street, 2 hours buy, sell, trade stocks, commodities, futures, options, swap hands, CDOs, color, debt, swiping, forex, forex, forex. Please, if you make a million on the stock market today, it's still a lot of time. Stock market open has been open since this morning for 2 hours now. Or if you made a million on the stock market yesterday, or if you will make a million on the stock market tomorrow, please, please, please give 10%, 10%, 10% for food security, for LGBTQ youth sports, for women's sports leagues, and for environmental causes, environmental causes, environmental causes, environmental causes. Those four, so that 10% of that million is divided by 10%. 1% of a million is 100,000, right? Because we take a zero, because 10 times 10 is 100, 10 times 10 is 100, 10 times 10 is 100. So 10% of every million profit is 100,000. So divided by 4, so I'm calling for 4 causes. 100,000 divided by 4 is 25,000. So 25,000 of that million profit that you make on Wall Street, Wall Street, Wall Street, Montreal Stock Exchange, TSX Stock Exchange today, in the collective North America civilization, those buying, trading stocks, maybe with a smartphone, made a million today profit. Or if you will make a million profit tomorrow, or have made a million profit yesterday, please give 10%, which is 100,000, divided by 4, which is 25,000. Give a check to that. 25,000 for food security, 25,000 for women's sports leagues, 25,000 for LGBTQ youth sports, and 25,000 for environmental causes issues. And if you listen to this, make a million, or stumble over this video, know that I'm auctioning this red hoodie, which I bought $4. I think maybe 4 or 550. I think it was 550. Secondhand a few years ago. I wore it, did tens of thousands of push-ups in it, thousands of push-ups in it, squats in it, I workout marched in it. So I'm auctioning starting at say $93 with these black jeans, and of course this coffee mug 93, and hair locks, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches, because cannot afford to get a haircut at the moment. Cannot afford to get a haircut at the moment. Cannot afford to get a haircut at the moment. But got some. Huh?
40 quadrillion ants in the world.
How many zeros is that?
I wonder. Well, quadrillion comes from 4, so it must be 4 and I don't know how many zeros.
Something to figure out. So how do they estimate that?
Oh, she explained it all.
Thanks. That was my anonymous sister. That was my anonymous sister with cool information. How many did you say? Estimated? 40 or 4? So it's a big number. My sister, my anonymous sister. Whom, if I make a million, I'll give her half. If I make a million, I'll give her half. If I make a million, I'll give her half. After, of course, 40 quadrillion. So my anonymous sister says that there's 40 quadrillion estimated, because we do estimate it. How many stars we are estimating? 40 quadrillion ants, supposedly, of different sizes, different shape, but in the world, right? That's cool information. See, I'm learning. In the world, right? The whole world.
Yes.
The whole world. Not just Canada or whatever. Okay. Interesting. So we learned something today, an info fact, which is kind of cool. 40 quadrillion stars. So I don't got that many kisses. I got trillions. 718 trillions. Sending kisses, multi-millionaires. Anybody wanna Adrian Hanna Dragan, pledge your allegiance, pledge your allegiance, pledge your allegiance, and can make all my willing, loving allies and armies. Kiss millionaires. Kisses got, money don't. I got $10,000 in debt. I can't wait to pay it off. The government of Quebec might be or might not be still asking me for the $2,200 back, and of course $10,000 that I do owe to the RBC. And a real fact check of what's happening in the economic, financial, commercial world, which affects us all. Of course, is that the banks, central banks, Bank of Canada, the Federal Reserve, which acts as a central bank to the U.S., European Bank, Bank of England, have hiked interest rates, which are called the prime lending rate, or of the lending rates, which are tied into all the private lenders and credit cards and the financial institutions, and affects everything from mortgages to business loans to debt, the debt, and of course credit lines. So my debt, I'm paying more interest servicing, because the debt in itself, if you don't pay high interest, is not such a problem. The more interest you pay, the more parasitical the relationship becomes. The more interest you pay, the more parasitical the relationship becomes. The more interest you pay, the more parasitical the relationship becomes. And so my proposition for the DFT, the DRT, the debt refusion theory, is of course taking all private and public debt and refusing it to create the UE. So I've stated in many of my videos in the past, that is my theory that I believe it's important to implement at this point in time. The debt refusion theory, DRT, debt refusion theory, which I've written over the past years, and I believe at this point in time is the best as an economic financial solution.
Study in abundance and mass of the ants in the world. That's the name. That's the study. And how important they are to the ecosystem. Also, she talked about that.
Thanks for sharing that. That's very interesting. It's a big number. So the debt refusion theory, of course, taking all private and public debt and refusing it to create the UE, which I'll discuss tomorrow. Just dedicated a coffee with yours truly, Dragan, with that. A coffee with yours truly, Dragan, just to that event. A coffee with yours truly, Dragan, just to that event. So again, thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers, butchers, bakers, doctors, nurses. You need my favor now? Can you wait?
Yeah, I just need to know if this can go in the dryer, but I can't see.
Mm-hmm. So, implementing the debt refusion theory, the DRT, in order to create the UE. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers, because everybody gotta eat. As a matter of fact, after this cup of coffee, I'm gonna having leftover lunch on a budget. My $1 dinner, I got leftovers noodles. $1 dinner, got leftover noodles. Still good. This was made with wheat, so thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers, who harvested that wheat and to make the bread. Or all farmers, dairy farmers, cattle farmers. Of course, I do admit that I want to afford a bacon. I love eating bacon. I love eating bacon. Now I have had to limit myself to only once every full moon, but I'm still grateful that I got it. And I'm gonna live every day. Carpe diem, carpe diem, carpe diem. Just do workout, train, exercise, philosophize, call for the implementation of my trinity of theories, and march. As I've been doing lots of marches, doing the, of course, COVID, getting vaccinated, triple vaccinated, and open for business. Yours truly for. Thank you. I'm grateful, thankful that my rent is paid in full for September. October is coming, so living it day by day, open for business XYZ. First and foremost, I want to pay my whole debt and continue to work at the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, and my meditations, my scenarios ongoing now. Of course, part of the recovery efforts from Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island. Love you, kiss you, hug you. New Brunswickers, love you, kiss you, hug you. New Islanders, love you, kiss you, hug you. Newfoundlanders, Labradorians, love you, kiss you, hug you. Nova Scotians, and imagining now in the terrain, this as I'm speaking, I'm doing here, this live stream, all that brains and muscle to move, cut, to remove the trees. How many trees have fallen? Maybe in the hundreds, in the thousands, on the roads, on the houses, the poles, the electricity poles. Dangerous work. People in steel toe boots. Love you, hug you. Offer them, please, multi-millionaire Canadians, multi-millionaire Canadians, multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires Canadians. Offer them a check. Give them something extra. Offer them a check, or some for some services, because I could bet they could use a massage therapy. That's what I could fucking use now. I cannot afford it. I'm $10,000 in debt, but I can do. I learned massage therapy during COVID and in past lives. I can volunteer to do. I can offer. Because some say, I don't like to be touched now. Give me a cheeseburger. Give me a double cheeseburger. Let me go to Give me $10 or give me $100 or $20 or $30 to go have a drink at a strip club. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It's fine. Whatever the case may be. If I do own a strip club or a club, is gonna be a LGBTQ rainbow dragon farmers, butchers, truckers for truckers discount, farmers discount. Oh, club farmers discount, Hydro Quebec workers discount, butchers, farmers first, because everybody gotta eat, even the strippers. Yeah, strippers gotta eat. I love all forms of dancing. I've been myself to strip clubs. I haven't been during COVID because can't afford it money. I'm broke, but I'm rich in brains and muscle, and then some philosophy and theory, and of course, I am a universal revolutionary centrist, a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist. I paid my rent in full, fully paid my rent for this September 27th already. It's 11:50 a.m. Please, if you made a million already on the stock market today, buy, sell, trade stocks, commodities, future options, commodities. And if you make a million on stock market profit tomorrow, if you made a million on stock market yesterday, tomorrow, or today, please give 10% of that 1 million profit that you do make today or have made yesterday or will make tomorrow. 10% is 100,000 divided by 4 is 25,000. 4 times 25,000 for women's sports leagues, 25,000 for women's sports league, 25,000 for LGBTQ youth sports, 25,000 for, of course, food security first, because everybody gotta eat, and of course the rest to whatever XYZ activities, the environmental protection, to plant some trees, those trees that are fallen, to plant some trees, those trees in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Labrador, to plant those trees, because it will require brains and action, muscle and brains, right? Brains and muscle, plant the trees, to take all those trees. Imagine all that pushing. And my workout today, you best believe I'm gonna work out hard this afternoon as yours truly, the people's athlete who's got some brain and some muscle, and is not just blah 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 or philosophizing theories, which sometimes they get thrown out the window, don't they? When you see an emergency situation of storm or XYZ other things going on, like during COVID. Sometimes to the fundamentals, to the principles. Like, I am grateful, thankful that my rent is paid in full. Fully paid my rent. It is 27th of September. Fully paid my rent. I'm grateful, thankful. Paid my rent in full. Paid my electricity bill in full. Have fully paid my electricity bill and my rent paid in full. My rent and my electricity bill are paid in full. Both my electricity bill and my rent. Got food. Bought noodles yesterday. Bought noodles. I gotta say, maybe it was my fault. I was talking. I said XYZ how many I counted, but I got overcharged, and I only checked later. I got overcharged for 6, but it was 3 for $1. So I lost $2. I lost $2. I lost $2. Could say. So I bought noodles on special, and they used to be 4 for $1. Now they 3 for $1. So they took off one, and I've noticed the coffee. It went from 925 grams to 900 grams. So it took off, kept the same price, although I'm grateful, thankful yesterday that I bought it on a special. But 25 grams, it was reduced. 925 grams, and now it's 900 grams, right? So it's been reduced. But all those reductions, because 25 grams times 10, that's 250 grams. So for every 30, they get a 31st, they get a 1 extra one. So they're doing more profit. So what's and yours truly on this morning here. It's 11:53 a.m. in the morning in Hawk Island, Montreal. I'm grateful, thankful that my rent is paid in full, have fully paid my electricity bill, have fulfilled my responsibility, duty, and obligation to pay my rent, which is my responsibility, duty, and obligation, and to pay my electricity bill, my double trouble duo. Paying my rent and my electricity bill obligation, duty, and responsibility has been fulfilled. I've done it. I've fulfilled my obligation, duty, and responsibility to pay my rent and my electricity bill. Right, I fulfill that. And please, because when we step outside, we have an added responsibility now for public hygiene first. Public hygiene, security, ensuring of liberty and other people's freedoms and liberties and characters. With public hygiene, please wash your hands with soap and water and hand sanitizer, disinfect the hands when you go in a school, when you go in a bank, when you go in a grocery store, when you go in a mall, in a domain which is not your private domain. This is my private domain. I'm in my private room, Austin Temple. If I want, I can turn everything off, close the blinds, turn off the light, get naked, dance naked on Tekashi 69 music, Madonna music, or Kanye West music. My price for a naked dance, 1 million for an hour. That's my price. I'm gonna pay my debt, give half to my anonymous sister after paying my $10,000 in debt, giving the government. If they're still asking me if I don't negotiate, get a weekend for some rock and roll poetry and kisses and hugs and feet washing in the Quebec à l'Assemblée nationale with some poetics poetry. To of course give the a trade, because that's what fundamentally money is, right? Some units to buy or sell, buy or sell. Of course, my UE, which I'm going to discuss more in depth tomorrow. I'm calling for all in the public partnership, and of course, to create an banks, private and public institution to create an institution. But the UE stands for Universal Exchange Unit, which tomorrow part two is going to be in depth dedicated to that. But today and tomorrow and the day after, Thursday, today's Tuesday, September 27th, I'm meditating now. Let's do a meditation. And after saying again, once again, that I'm grateful, thankful that my rent is paid in full, my electricity bill is paid in full, fully paid my rent and electricity bill, and got coffee. I was able to buy 30% off yesterday. I'm grateful. It was good coffee. And I got noodles and I got food and I stacked. I got 18 bags of noodles. In theory, those could last me for a stretch eat 3 a day on a daily. That's not that much. A week, emergency food, whatever. XYZ noodles, right? It used to be four for $1, so price went up. Price went up. It was 25% if you do the equivalent in the price, because they were 4 for 1, which is the equivalent 25 cents each. Now they're 3 for 1, which is 33.3 cents each. So the equivalent is they went up exactly one. You do the fractions on 4. Used to be 4 on 4, and now it's 3 on 4 for the same, for the value of 1 unit. 4 on 4 is 1 unit, the $1, and you do the fraction, so it's 1/4. Exactly, that went off when increased, right? The inverse relationship. So 25% went up. 25% went up. Went up 25%. The price basically. So what they did is, it used to be 4 packs for $1, and now it's 3 packs for $1. So I've noticed that yesterday, and I've also noticed the fact that the coffee is being reduced from 925 grams to 900 grams. So there has been a reduction. There has been a reduction. There has been a reduction. And so as we notice in that, as we notice that fact, it's equivalent for who's gonna affect the majority, the me, the you, not necessarily the multi-millionaires or the billionaires, right? Who have millions of dollars. And please, if you do have, because money can be used to buy and sell fundamentally is a unit of exchange. Please give for food security, for women's sports leagues. My brothers in patriarchal, I'm going to say parallel sports leagues: NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB, National Football League, National Hockey League, National Basketball Association, MLB. Give for women's sports leagues, LGBTQ youth services, and of course environmental causes. As it is 11:57 a.m. in the morning here, and yours truly is grateful, thankful that my rent is paid in full, my electricity bill is paid in full, and I'm gonna say again, thank you, love you, kiss you, past, present, and future, for my credit, future kisses and hugs, and whoever wants, offer, because that's what I gotta offer, with some push-ups, some squats, some hawks, some philosophy, and my theories, which are gold. I believe firmly in the implementation, cross first and foremost, the collective North American civilization, the collective North American. Speaking to my brothers and sisters in the USA, someone who has been also born in the United States of America twice in past lives, as a matter of fact, served in the US Army, 718 miles south. 156 years ago, served in the US Army, 718 miles south of Hawk Island. Just read George Patton's Through a Glass Darkly. Read George Patton's Through a Glass Darkly. Read George Patton's Through a Glass Darkly, where the general believes, like me, in reincarnation, incarnations. belief of reincarnation, which goes across different spiritual. And I am spiritual, but I'm also physical. I'm not totally selfless. I'm not totally selfish. I try to be balanced, and I am for the greater good. I am for the greater good. I am for the greater good with all the imperfections and the moodiness. And moody sometimes get angry, but know what to do. My medicine and therapy, working out, training, exercising, marching. Yesterday, which I marched, for a cause, meditated with my brothers and sisters in Nova Scotia, brothers and sisters in Labrador, brothers and sisters in Newfoundland, brothers and sisters in Prince Edward Island, brothers and sisters in, of course, New Brunswick, in Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, in the Maritimes, in the Atlantic Canada, in that way, of which I've got the opportunity to go visit, and I fell in love with Nova Scotia, Halifax was great, and the surroundings was beautiful. And Peggy's Cove was like breathtaking. Peggy's Cove was like breath out of this world. Peggy's Cove was one of the most beautiful places I ever visited, at least in this lifetime. Of course, out of lifetimes I've been to other beautiful places, but it was one of the most beautiful places I ever been with. I had the honor to go with my anonymous sister, and I went across Canada again to do philosophical workout training exercise, do my workout training program, go coast to coast, public-private partnership, and throughout the USA as well, North America. It was truly Dragan Zero right here from Hawkeye to Montreal, who was an American twice in past lives and who's not perfect, far from it, but have some brain and some muscle, some art, some athletics, some philosophy, some theorizing, some scenarios. Now that we're knocking on the door of World War III, some say World War III has begun. Our brothers and sisters doing more than 42 years of Cold War, doing more than 42 years of Cold War, doing more than 42 years of Cold War. We built USSR, Soviet Union, and USA built so many nuclear warheads. This is serious. This is serious matters. But collective North American civilization, my proposals, of course, NORAD, public-private partnership, calling for Dragan Musk, public-private partnership, Dragan Army, Dragan Zero, public Musk, public-private Dragan Zero, Musk, NORAD, public-private partnership between myself, Dragan Zero, with my theories, and Elon Musk, and of course NORAD, collective defense, coast to coast, from North America, land, sea, and air, land, sea, and air, land, sea, and air, public defense, land, sea, and air. That your story is calling for. Thereof, coast to coast, at this 12:01 p.m. in the afternoon, 12:01 p.m. in the afternoon, 12:01 p.m. in the afternoon. Okay? So, in this rainy, stormy day, and Fiona, grateful, thankful my rent's paid in full. Thank you, love you, because your past, present workers, Hydro Quebec, as to whom I got the coffee. Have this light above my head, have this electricity that I'm utilizing that's zero pollution, zero emission, environmentally friendly. Hydro Quebec, it's water. Hydro Quebec also gives to five from maybe even six states in the US. I know five for sure, but now I think it's maybe six. And it used to be five, but now it's six states in the US who also get energy, clean, renewable, zero pollution energy that I'm using to make this video. That the light above my head is using electricity that's zero pollution, zero emission, environmentally friendly. My coffee machine is brewing coffee, brewed coffee this morning, and it's keeping me warm. Utilizing zero pollution emission. I'm doing this live stream utilizing zero pollution, zero emission energy. My brothers and sisters now is doing meditation on Nova Scotia. How many trees, as I've started this live stream, have been removed, cut to that brains and muscles? I'm calling, of course, for action from the multi-billionaire Canadians, well off, even athletes or multi-millionaires. Of course, we got hockey teams across Canada, who the CEOs, owners who make lots of millions of profit in the, whether Montreal Canadiens is on Habs gotta be Hawkeye to Montreal, Habs City, got my own Hab gear, and I've spent money on Habs Canadians gear myself. I've purchased in the past, not during COVID because I've been broke, and I'm broke but my work is gold. I am broke but my work is gold. I am broke but my work is gold, and I am for the greater good. I try to be balanced. I'm not totally selfless. I want to get regular. I admit that I want to afford milk. I love to drink milk regularly. I want to get a bottle of wine from Israel. A bottle of wine from Israel. I saw the other day, bottle of wine from Israel. I said, wow, this is $22. I said, or buy the $9 ones because I can't afford to buy it. But I want to try it. I want to try it. I want to try it. I want to try also wine. Some wine from also Quebec, local Quebec wine, but it was like $26. I'm like, le vin du Québec, what the fuck, c'est plus cher que le vin de la France. Qu'est-ce que c'est ça cette affaire-là? Je peux pas me permettre du vin du Québec, puis c'est moins cher, c'est 2 fois moins cher le vin de la France. C'est quoi cette affaire-là? J'étais frustré un peu, mais I was a little bit upset, but that's okay. C'est 26.95 it was. Wine from Quebec, right? A wine from Quebec. I wanted to try local wine. I said it's almost 3 times the price of the wine from France and the wine from Spain and the wine from Italy that I bought at 8.80, 8.90, or 9.10. I bought wine at $9.35, 9.35, 9.35. And the wine from Quebec was 26.95, so almost 3 times. 9.35 is like 9.35 is like 28.50 about, so almost 3 times the price for local Quebec wine. I'm like, what is this? How come? And they crossed the ocean, they crossed the ocean, they crossed the ocean. But anyways, in other words, I don't want to afford that wine that I never tasted, that cognac that I never tried, that whiskey that I never had a shot of, or that, of course, cognac, whiskey, and of course some brandy from North America, from Canada, and XYZ, and a good bacon on the. I would eat it even 3 times a week if I could afford it. I admit it, and of course, I love my bacon. I love, huh? Anyways, so thank you, love you, kiss you, workers of Hydro Quebec, and thank you, love you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers, butchers, truckers, grocery store clerks, nurses, daycare workers, your rock workers now in the relief efforts, all involved in the relief efforts. I'm calling on Tim Hortons to give them for the whole week. Calling on Tim Hortons for the whole week. Calling on Tim Hortons for the whole week to give them free coffee. Sandwiches to all Nova Scotians, Newfoundlanders, Prince Edward Islanders, Newfoundlanders, New Brunswickers, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswickers, and of course Nova Scotians and Labradorians, and of course the Maritimes and the Atlantic. Tim Hortons give them free coffee, free sandwiches. Irving family, Irving family, Irving family. I'm calling on you to mass finance them, to mass finance them, to mass finance them, and of course, so those involved in the relief efforts down east, on the east coast, on the Maritimes, Atlantic. Free hugs, free kisses, because I got some vein and some muscle. How many? Pushing, go, 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 pushing those trees out of the way to clear the roads. How many trees have fallen on the houses, the debris? How many poles? The cement poles. All those cement poles which were built with brains and muscle, requires brains and muscle. So we cheer you on and clap, clap, clap. Clap for those workers in the relief efforts now ongoing. The military by the hundreds, by the tens, by the hundreds, by the thousands. Dragan Zero gonna cheer for you. Dragan Zero is clapping for you. Dragan Zero offers you all hugs and kisses and tickles. Maybe you say no to all tickles. No, don't tickle. I don't like it. It's okay, but that's what I offer. That's what I got. Some brain, some muscle. Some theorizing now, reimagining the scenarios, because there has to be, of course, what is the priority? And the priority, my brothers and sisters, and first and foremost, is citizens' lives, because this body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. This body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. The body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. At the end of the day, the cars, the automobiles, the vehicles are, let's face it, at the end of the day, they're metal on wheels, metal on wheels, metal on wheels. So I'm asking now today for a concrete action. In fact, on this Tim Hortons, this corporation has made a lot of profit. Give them for just this week during relief efforts, during recovery efforts. Give them free coffee, food, bagels, cheese, the products. Come on, adequate, a little bit, a little bit. Portion, of course. Don't abuse. Don't get 3 coffees. You don't need 3 coffees a day. Get one coffee. Get one coffee for each one coffee. Greater than one whatever bagel or food or served there as a food, a sandwich or croissant with cheese and a little sweet something. 10 10 timbits or one russet or whatever it is. You know, 3 of each coffee, something to eat and something for a little bit of sweet coffee. That's what I'm calling for as an action for on Tim Hortons now on my live stream. This independent athlete, independent activist, independent advocate to show that even the private drinkers, even this, don't have emergencies, catastrophes, or the situation. And I've been myself in crises. I've been through depression. I've conquered it. I've conquered depression. I've been through depression. I've conquered it. And of course, I've been suicidal. I know it is to be down and out, down and out. And I fight my own battles. I got philosophies, brains, and muscle. If anybody wanna offended anybody, whatever, left, right, or center, and you can put on gloves. And man, first I'm gonna box Donald Trump. Though first I'm gonna box Donald Trump. I'm still challenging after a few years now. Donald Trump to a boxing match. Still got the red gloves that my anonymous sister donated to me a few years ago on my, of course, protocol with the call to challenge Donald Trump due to the that I got into politics when Donald Trump implemented tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel. Donald Trump's implementation of tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel. Donald Trump's implementation of tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, and of course have been. Of course, my American brothers and sisters, this was an American twice in past lives, and we got a thing as North American civilization. We got, of course, when we speak English, I speak myself a lot French. We got French, English, Spanish, mainly. We got only 3 languages. It's not so hard to translate. I can do all the translation, all the languages of North America, no problemo. I learned Spanish, so I speak Spanish as well, so that's not a problem. You got Adrian Hanna Dragan, North America, speak English, speak French, speak Spanish. We're good to go. Speak Spanish, French, English, speak French, English, and Spanish. Adrian Hanna Dragan, North America, we're ready to rock and roll. Right? And of course, two oceans. That way, the West Coast. That way is the West Coast. That way is the Pacific. That way is the East Coast. That way is the Atlantic. Pacific, Atlantic. Now focusing on the Atlantic. The Atlantic provinces, of course, the Atlantic, what's called Atlantic Canada. That way, Atlantic Canada comprises Newfoundland and Labrador, comprises Nova Scotia, comprises, of course, New Brunswick, comprises Prince Edward Island. Right? And our brothers and sisters there, of course, have suffered the consequences of Fiona, and now there's recovery efforts, relief work, recovery work has commenced. My own recovery and healing has and is and will require action. Right? And I'm going to take action later on. I'm going to work out, train, exercise. It's going to benefit me because it has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice to work out, train, exercise. Have been, and will call for the mass financing of my brothers and sisters to work out, to train, and to exercise. And when I'm gonna students gonna exercise like have been exercising, I've done more than 290 sessions of my workout completed, and gonna get to 300, which was my initial goal. I'm gonna get to 300. My initial goal was to get to 300, and I officially turned that A, my surname, into an O. Turned that A into an O. Turned my surname into an O. And of course, once I get to 300, probably Thursday. If I meet the deadline Thursday, if I do one today, one tomorrow, one thereafter, probably by Friday, I'm gonna meet it 3 in a row, and then we'll clock it in at 300. Because initially I set up to do 300 sessions. I'm referring, of course, to the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the Dragan Army workout, of which you can see hundreds of videos online of me working out, training, exercising. My fitness journey, losing more than 77 pounds, and of course, calling and advocating for the mass financing of people to work out, to train, and to exercise. People to work out, to train, and to exercise, to channel and sublimate the aggression. I admit I have aggression in me. I channel and sublimate in my brothers and sisters. Two key words of my philosophy. Whether it's aggression, whether it's violence, whether it's force, whether it's sexuality, my own LGBTQ, pan, and being, of course, I'm pansexual, and pansexual, has has been my own sexual liberation for through blood, sweat, and tears. It's been many years. I've made videos. I'm in the open for many years now. In the public sphere is no problem. No doubt, get my rainbow dragon around my crotch in the streets. Stay 2 meters away if you ain't got love for yours truly, rainbow dragon. Get vaccinated. Please increase in hygiene in public. Please increase in hygiene in public. Please increase in hygiene in public. And of course, yours truly is open for business. Kisses got girl. Might if you, I'm offering, but kisses, hugs, and tickles, and some brain, some muscles, some philosophy. I might ask if if you got if you washed your hands. Did you wash your hands with soap today? Did you wash your hands with soap today? Did you wash your hands with soap today? Because when we step outside, I'm in my room office in Temple, small place. I admit I want something bigger so I can work out stronger, work out harder, work out more long and do special general war integrated full body training systems, special Dragon Army workout training program system. I admit it. I do want a bigger, something bigger, bigger place because I've been living here and in this room I've seen people have written tens of thousands of pages of philosophy, art, poetry, and songs, and in nature and civilization as an independent geopolitical analyst and theorist, independent philosopher, independent athlete, independent activist, independent of course, artists to rock and roll, rap, to dance first and foremost, choreography, dance, and with some brain and some muscle. Fundamentally, the world's greatest living dancing millennium, rainbow poet. But I'm in my private room, office, and temple, which has also served as a gymnasium. Last created my own workout, and of course, I'm still gonna work out training tonight after 3 p.m. It's gonna be dedicated to Nova Scotians, and of course, calling on Tim Hortons again to please, for until the duration of the recovery, of first the relief for this week, free coffee to Nova Scotians, Prince Edward Islanders, Newfoundlanders, Labradorians, and of course New Brunswickers. Free coffee, free coffee, and Tim Hortons, free bagel, and maybe a little bit of sweet, something for the sweet tooth, some Timbits, Tim Beebs. Now I want to try them, and didn't try them. I'm not, of course, nobody's paying me. I get no private and public partnerships or offering at this moment for business, although I'm open for business, but keep on carpe diem every day. Gonna keep on carpe diem every day. Gonna keep on carpe diem every day. I'm gonna work out, train, exercise every day. Like it's be my last day to do what I love. Be my last day on earth. Well, how would I spend it? Well, I would like to get to work out, to train, to exercise, to do drills, to read, to drink some coffee, eat some good food, and give and receive some kisses, some hugs, and some massages. Take a bath and hygiene and meditate on nature and civilization. Meditate on never. So love, and love is action is my philosophy. Love is action because it's just. Sorry.
I want my little soup and now I don't want it. You want a bit of soup? I warmed it up and now I don't want it.
Oh, I would love a little bit of soup. Thank you. Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm never gonna say no to food. I'm never gonna say no to food. Never gonna say no to food, to kisses, to hugs, to some brain work with some brain and some muscle, to philosophizing, to dancing, to huh? Yeah, thanks. I'm gonna eat after one. My anonymous sister offered me some soup. I'm gonna put it with my leftovers, which I have here. Let's see. Leftovers, my $1 dinner from last night. My $1 dinner from last night. My $1 dinner from last night. $1 dinner from last night. My anonymous sister offered me some food. I am androgynous pansexual, but if I would want to marry somebody, it'd probably be her if I'm androgynous pansexual. So if I want to marry somebody, it would be her if I am androgynous pansexual. But if I would marry somebody, it would be her. Anyways, it is 12:18 p.m. in this afternoon. 12:18 p.m. in this afternoon. 12 p.m. Please, if you do make a meal on stock market profit today, you got more 4 hours a little bit more than 4 hours left. At 4:30, stock market close. So please give 10% for food security. Please give 10% for, well, that 10% of that million profit that you make today or have made yesterday or will make tomorrow on the stock market. Buy, sell, trade stocks, commodities, future options. That 10% of 1 million profit is equivalent to 100,000 divided by 4, which is 24, 25, 25, 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 for women's sports leagues, 25,000 for food security, 25,000 for LGBTQ youth services, and that last quarter, even for environmental protection, to that 25,000 for environmental organization to plant some trees, which will require some brain and some muscle. I wonder if my multi-billionaires will sponsor, finance to plant. How many trees have fallen? I don't know if there's a count, but it could be in the hundreds, thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of trees that fell in the Atlantic provinces in the Maritimes. How many? Maybe a few thousand. Are they gonna be financing billionaires to plant the same number of trees? Would that be a good thing, right? These almost or estimated number of trees which have fallen, to plant them, it's going to require some brain and some muscle, just like now my brothers and sisters in Nova Scotia, that way, New Brunswick, that way in the Maritimes, Prince Edward Island, and of course Newfoundland, Labrador. I imagine them cheering you on. Go with steel-toe boots. Go on those steel-toe boots with gloves, pushing the trees, hitting the trees with those big machines. Of course, with the trucks, or loading the trucks to get the debris to somewhere which, by brain's estimation and calculation, will be the most environmentally safe to get those tree logs for them to decompose naturally and to not harm the other habitats. Right? Take some brain, some habitats, different habitats of different species of flora and fauna. Species of flora, which is of course flowers or plants and whatever they have is flora, and of course fauna is of course the animals. Flora, right? The Latin word for the, in the botanical sense, the flora represents of course the flowers, the trees, different species of trees. I don't know at all. I'm learning every day those Latin name is so long so to pronounce. Bonaticus, arborus means trees. Arborus is general. I know the general. I know nothing really. I know a little bit. I do know that my own healing and transformation is and will require action. Action is necessary, right? To change habits, to get rid of something that was harmful, whatever it is, addiction. Like I've set a limit. I've said this before. I'm gonna say I've set a limit on my pornography consumption, like watching porn, POR, adult movies, right? And no need to spy on me, RCMP. No need to spy on me, RCMP. Royal Canadian Mountain Police. Try to do my workouts. I can workout, train, exercise. I can come to Regina for 3 days, and each day we're gonna do it 3 times a day. My workout, general integrated, drop down, give Dragan push-ups. Let's go push-ups for the fitness. The body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. Fitness, coast to coast. All public and private security organizations. SPVM, workout, train, exercise. Encourage citizens to work out, train, exercise. Of course, CSIS. FBI, CIA, of course, no need to spy on me, CIA, FBI, NSA, drop down, give me some push-ups, Congress, Parliament of Canada, we're gonna do it together. For world peace, that's my message to the leaders of the free world. And of course in Stasi, well, the Stasis are gone after November 9, 1989, it was East Germany, notorious for 42 years, not about, more or less estimated 42 years. Stasi was notorious secret police, right? It was Stasi. We have the word Gestapo. Mossad, no need to spy on me. I set a discipline, set a regulation regime, if you want, a discipline, rules, because sometimes things require rules, just sports, whatever. I have my principles are some rules, some regulations, which sometimes we fall short. Everybody deserves second chances, third chances, even fourth chances, right? And benefit of the doubt. Huh? Benefit. I'm gonna eat it later after I finish my work. And thank you. And of course, it requires some action, some action to do. And of course, the implementation of my trinity of theories, the democratic fusion theory with the CIT and the debt fusion theory, is best at this point in time. So it requires some rules, just as I've imposed a discipline and rules on my porn consumption. watching adult movies. I'm only watching during the Sabbath, which begins Sabbath of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. My Sabbath begins Friday at midnight and lasts until about Sunday for rest, recovery, pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. I haven't watched that much. I haven't watched that much, but I, for months now, it has set those rules and discipline to only regulate it and have set times for this and that, for this different activities, right? So I want to incorporate and do more and more and more. Doing is required, action is required, right? Blah blah blah. But see, like, how many action now? All that sweat, those steps they're taking in steel toe boots. How many steps? Maybe tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of steps in steel toe boots will be taken by hundreds, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of relief workers, whether those in the Canadian Armed Forces go there, those for the Hydro who are sent there with a convoy, those there who are already there on the ground, the farmers, the butchers, the bakers, the fishermen and women, the fishers, those in the fisheries, lots of fishery. I've learned something, of course, that the Maritimes produce the most lobster. Lots of potatoes also, but lobster. Supposedly the Maritimes, Nova Scotia dominates, I believe. Nova Scotia, the whole Maritimes, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick. Let's say Maritimes, put them together, the three maritime provinces, and the Atlantic Canada have four, because Newfoundland and Labrador is included. When we say Atlantic, it includes Newfoundland and Labrador. When we say Maritimes, it's the Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick, the three maritime provinces of the sea. And the one Labrador, Newfoundland, also has with us our province Quebec, right, as we go that way, which is east, right, a few hundred kilometers a mile from here. Actually, we're gonna do how much distance is from Montreal to Halifax, how much distance is from, we're gonna check it out, because we got the internet, telecommunication, we got science, and in a parallel life I am a scientist where satellites, supercomputers, ICBM rockets, microchips, and smartphones. I'm in the 6 and 7G now. And that's as a scientist in a parallel life. And in this life I'm a philosopher, I'm an artist, I'm an activist, I'm an athlete, I'm a poet, universal spiritual teaching student who has his own faults and is not totally selfless, but I'm not totally selfish either. I try to be balanced in harmony. And of course, now that we say how many steps are taken in steel toe boots by how many people, but there's thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of steps we're gonna be taken during this week of recovery and relief efforts, and how much effort to relieve those trees. How many trees have fallen on the sidewalks? Imagine all those sidewalks, all those towns, cities, Halifax, where it is in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, in Prince Edward Island, have to do the labor, right? The reconstruction, recovery, relief work that they're doing now. Thank you, Love you. Cheer them on. Let's cheer them on, coast to coast. Cheer them on. We gotta focus on my, of course, initiative, the Dragan Army, to be, of course, where we have emergency scenarios, such as relief, to be public-private partnership, mobilization of citizenry coast to coast in such an emergencies, to be able to do that work, clear the roads, clear the highways, clear this, clear that. And of course we can see from above and estimate with drones, and we can see estimation on the streets XYZ, wherever it is the most. And of course the population, the people, the citizens, the body of the citizen, the people first and foremost, the people, right? Because the property, yes, but first and foremost the body. That's a temple for pleasure and purpose to learn, to do, now to hopefully to work towards attaining harmony between civilization and nature, because civilization has required a building and it has its discontent still, some brains and muscle, and its maintenance and upgrading it hopefully towards the size will require some brain and some muscle. Its maintenance, its upgrading will require some brains and some muscle. So I'm calling for a concrete action by a public corporation, Tim Hortons, to where this week, the Tuesday, 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and for the whole week, let's say a week from now until next week, let's say the duration of the recovery, but let's say a week, give free coffee, free bagels, free, give it out from the profits, CEOs, like some millions a year. Now you can put a few millions in there, no? Will they do it? I don't know. If you write that, Dragan calls for Tim Hortons to do this and this and that in action. Right? What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna work out later, train, exercise, and of course imagine myself what they're doing and dedicate my workout, training, exercise to them move those barrels of water. Water has to be brought. The water has to be brought. Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna get to it in about after one, and of course. Oh yeah. Mm. Well, okay. Thanks. I'll see. So yours truly is imagining that scenario. How many feet are marching labor on the ground now, doing XYZ, the labor that's required to build and maintain, civilization. And of course, now all those trees that are blocking sidewalks on the houses, all the debris has to be the poles. Poles. How many poles have fallen? Maybe 100, maybe 1,000, maybe 10,000 or more poles. It's also dangerous work. With gloves, 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 gloves. And be cut, 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 cut. Steel with a steel cutter. With a steel cutter gotta be cut. Right, the wires. With the danger of electricity, electrocution, getting electrocuted. Right, the individual citizens. So go, 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 Nova Scotians, go, go, go. New Brunswickers, go, go, go. All Maritimes, Atlantic, go, go, go. Love you, kiss you. You're gonna get some coffee refill. Now I heard the trains. I'm close to the train tracks. Meditating on the trains. I'm meditating on the trains, meditating on the trains. How many poles have fallen on the trains, the train tracks? Gotta be cleared. Right? There's also not just the roads, but from the houses, the sidewalks where citizens gotta march, gotta jog, gotta run, gotta go, gotta walk on, or of course the highways, but also the railways, the railways, brothers and sisters, the railways, right across the collective North American civilization, and specifically the Maritimes, the Atlantic. That's what Fiona hit, but also Fiona hit, of course, my brothers and sisters in the USA on the East Coast. Came all the way north to us. Maybe there's another one on the way. There's the railways, railways, and railroads. Gotta be cleared. Brains and muscle. Workers of relief, those in the armed forces, those on the ground there, those deployed. The Hydro Quebec send convoys, right? Those railway tracks gotta be because supplies gotta get to citizens. We got freight trains, maybe freight trains with lobster, maybe depending X, Y, Z, so many factors. With lobster, with grains, potatoes, whatever it is, milk, whatever it is, goods and services, which of course need to function, transport on the railways, on the X, Y, Z, on those perimeters. And then we got the cities, the bigger cities, the smaller cities, assessment that's been done and that's been doing even now, as I'm doing this video in solidarity, imagining it from having from satellites or satellites or drones overseeing the citizens on the ground. Because if you're on the ground watching, you see trees are falling on houses, trees are falling on the ground, blocking sidewalks, blocking streets, blocking the circulation of cars. That's probably there's a petrol essence. Right, so prioritize. Sometimes it's take a few hours to assess, discuss, propose the plan, but action is gonna, because action is gonna be taken, is required. It's like me, if I just would have been advocating for the mass financing of citizens to work out, to train and exercise, but if I don't do it, and I've done more than 290 of my own created workout, which I'm calling for people to support building the application, Dragan Army app, Dragan workout, Dragan Zero workout app. So I said it's a work in progress, and I'm working every day as an independent athlete, people's athlete, challenging the patriarchal sports leagues. Say patriarchal because there's no women's sports leagues, which makes economically, financially, commercially, the same, not even close. As they're averaging millions of dollars, right? And the women's sports leagues are averaging much, much, much less, right? Let's be honest with that. But of course, challenging them to do my workout. Or if I would have just advocated mass without myself doing it, right? I've done it. You see hundreds of videos of me working out, training, exercising. Hundreds of videos of me working out, training, exercising. Hundreds of videos of me working out, training, exercising. Hundreds of videos of me working out, training, exercising. I can do it coast to coast. I can set up times, XYZ live stream. Live stream. We can go coast to coast and throughout the collective North American civilization, calling for the private public partnership, the governments. I wrote to them. A few callbacks, you know how it is, bureaucracy. Sometimes you just gotta do red tape. I know I've been disillusionment, upset with XYZ institutions and organizations and lots of blah blah. Some things get done, others do not. And not myself, I just do. Of course, meditate and philosophize and write philosophy, TV, art, poetry. There's so many things I don't know, so many things that I am average in, so many things that I'm so with, so many things that I lack skills in, competency, and I'm so at some things. I am average at others, mediocre at some things. Yes, I am average at some things. Yes, I am mediocre at others. Yes, I am so at other things. I admit it. I have some brain and some muscle, great philosophy, my theories, trinity of theories, my trinity of theories I believe are best for the implementation at this moment in the 21st century, where we are now, at least for the collective North American civilization. My trinity of theories, but also, of course, as I am a well peace advocate, but not overly naive to not admit my own nature, my own struggles, my own admitting that I have aggression, like channel it, because a lot of keywords. So my philosophy, channel and sublimate, meaning utilizing the energies and the forces, those constructive activities, working out, training, exercising, doing XYZ, dancing, whatever it is, cleaning. I gotta clean my own room off some temple yesterday. I sweep a bit every day, gotta sweep a bit, clean the toilet, right? The toilet bowl. Require maintenance, right? And brain and action is required to maintain it. To build civilization, brains and muscle has been required to maintain it and hopefully to upgrade it and attain harmony between civilization and nature, such as a concrete activity and action would be to plant every tree, for example, let's say 10,000, 25,000, 100,000, maybe a million, maybe. Trees fell throughout the Maritimes and the Atlantic provinces into the storm. Could be, and the number is that high. Plant for each fallen tree, plant another tree. For each cut tree, plant another tree. Right? So have the balance, harmony, equilibrium. Right, so if I would just mass advocate for mass financing, people to work out, to train and exercise, well, gets there's a little bit XYZ, it's a little bit of XYZ, it's a little bit of XYZ. But if I also do it and advocate for it, it's much better. It's much better. I also do it and advocate for it. Advocating for the mass MS financing via public-private partnership, patriarchal sports leagues, women's sports leagues, multi-millionaires, multi-billionaires, CEOs, corporations, public institutions and organizations such as corporations and others, and private ones, and private corporations and institutions and organizations, the private business and private corporations, stock market, Wall Street, and of course the public governments, Congress, US. Drop down, give Dragan 013 push-ups with LOV and for the sake of world peace, and I'll do it with you. I'll do those push-ups with you. I'll do those squats with you. I'll do those hawks with you. Parliament of Canada. Let's do some push-ups, hawks, squats, right? Canadians support Dragan Zero workout, training, exercising, and dancing at the Parliament. Canadians support Dragan Zero working out, training, exercising, and dancing at the Parliament. Dragan Zero support. Canadians support Dragan Zero working out, training, and exercising at the Parliament. To work out, to train, and to exercise at the Parliament. Push up my general war integrated body training system. General War Integrated Total Body Training System, my General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the Dragon Army Workout, which I've created and I'm proud to have created. It's simple, effective, and efficient, requires no equipment. Requires no equipment whatsoever. My workout is simple, effective, and efficient, and it does what it's meant to do. It increases general overall fitness. My workout increases general overall fitness. My workout increases general overall fitness. And it's simple, effective, and efficient. Requires no equipment. Has some rules to it, and of course, yeah, thanks. So, of course, working out, training, and exercising has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. Doing push ups, doing hawks, doing squats. The push ups, the hawks, and the squats is my mode of worship in many ways. So, if I imagine if I would have been of mass financing for a public private. Thanks, bro. Yeah, these socks are wearing off. Auctioning my socks. I got black socks. I got black socks. I got black socks. I'm auctioning them also. Let's say they have a little holes because they've been marched a lot in a lot of places. March east, west, north, south. March east, west, north, south. March east, west, north, south, and of course, I'm adding something to my auction now. My sister gave me the idea. I'm adding something to my action now. I'm adding something to my action now. Black socks that I'm wearing, the black jeans, and the red, my favorite color, and of course some hair locks on my black hair locks on my black hair locks on my black hair. Auctioning. Anybody willingly living to, or make some other offers. Like I said, for my naked dance, it's gonna be $1 million for an hour. Androgynous, pansexual, rainbow dancing with a little bit of storm in between. And of course, it's 1 hour, 1 million. Pay my debt and give half a little bit to my sister because she's also a great artist. And of course, right here in this underground room, Afson Temple, is 12:40 p.m. 12:40 p.m. 12:40 p.m. Please, if you do make $1 million on the stock market today, I have made $1 million on the stock market yesterday. I will make $1 million on the stock market tomorrow. Please give 10% of that million is 100,000. 100,000 divided by 4 is 25,000. 25,000 is, of course, the equivalent of 1/4 or a quarter. 25% of that 10%, which is 100,000 of every million. So it's yours truly now, 12:41 p.m. Say go, 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 recovery workers, go, 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 recovery workers, go, 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 recovery workers. And we're gonna write to some unions. Unions, as of course I'm calling all willing living to the Global Dragon Union. I'm gonna first read the 11 principles of the Global Dragon Union that I am calling all willingly living to support. The 11 Holy Dragon Workers principles was yours truly, independent artist, independent activist, independent athlete, AAA, adding other dimensions to that trinity: universal spiritual teaching student, universal spiritual teaching student who's not perfect, got issues, got vices, got lusts, and of course, who is not perfect but is rainbow, got some brain and some muscle, got some brain and some muscle. The 11 Holy Dragon Workers Principle. 1. Treat all dragon workers with LOV. And love is also action is my philosophy. Understanding, compassion, and support. Love is action. Second, is love is action. Understanding is with communication. Compassion is with action to help for pleasure and purpose. Prioritize direct conversation, communication, negotiation, dialogue over gossip and slander. Operate on the principle that the body is the temple for pleasure and purpose. So for security, that the body is the temple for pleasure and purpose. Work. 5. Work to establish in big warehouses and where hard physical labor is done places for recreation, such as a massage area. For offer some people like, I'd rather got a spa, give me a cheeseburger. Don't like no massage, but some people will, as I get those people who are involved now in the relief effort, recovery effort, will, of course, after all those trees are removed, that debris is cleared, that they would also say, hell yeah, I will right to take a massage therapy session. I cannot afford it, it's too goddamn expensive. And of course, recreation such as massage and have volunteers or hired workers for services. Number 5. 6. Via dragon workers, volunteering or hired servicemen or women offer services to complement work hours with a proportional service offered, such as a massage therapy session, a spa session, an art show, etc. So it could be the compensation. 7. to understanding, consent, harm none principle. The harm none principle and hygiene all service is possible to be offered between Dragan workers and or with by hired servicemen or servicewomen. 8. Adopt a non-sectarian, pro-LGBTQI and multiracial one human race all workers policy. 9. With a balanced, harmonious, in equilibrium and in parallel meritocratic manner, establish Dragan workers committee leaders in order to make all corporations into Dancing Goddess and Dragon Kingdom cooperatives. To make all corporations into Dancing Goddess and Dragon Kingdom cooperatives. To make all corporations into Dancing Goddess and Dragon Kingdom cooperatives. 10. Work to decommodify food, housing, and transport, which of course are the pillars of civilization. So work to decommodify is my ongoing project of the Dragan Army, officially international citizen integrated social security and service force that I'm advocating calling for us first across the collective North American civilization. Work to decommodify food, housing, and transport. Services for healing, regeneration, transformation, or pleasure of the mind. For the mind of the mind. For the mind of. Yeah, correct there. For the mind. So you make mistakes, I make mistakes. Make mistakes, you make mistakes, we make mistakes. I make mistakes on the daily. And on the daily work to decommodify food, housing, transport, and services for the healing, regeneration, transformation, or pleasure for the mind, body, and soul of our fellows. Work for all the aforementioned within the Dancing Goddess and Dragon Kingdom's cooperative, complementary, and covenant institutions that I'm calling the creation ASAP by the implementation of my trinity of theories of the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragan Army, with the International Integrated Dance League, aka Dancing Goddess Army, and the Phoenix People's Party, of course, PPP, Phoenix People's Party, the anti-war, anti-poverty, anti-racism, pro-love. We're gonna fight racism and homophobia, anti-LGBTQ. That's how I know. That's what I offer. But no, not that. That's not what I'm offering. That's not what. Kisses, hugs, tickles. Anybody wants kisses? Kisses got by the plenty. Got credited from the Forgotten Goddess with that. With her brother the sun. 718 trillions of kisses. For all my willingly loving allies and armies, east, west, north, south, black, white, brown, whatever identification. I believe in one human race with our struggles and our different cultures, and still trying to break impasses my own self with admitting that I have issues and I've fought prejudices, and they are subconscious biases, irrational emotional feelings which sometimes drive us into jealousies, which we have. Whatever, somebody's taller than me, somebody's better than me, and yes, I admit that some things I am mediocre at, some things I am average at, some things I am so, while being super at some other things, great at other things, and excellent at other things, such as getting some brain and some muscle, while admitting that got tiny hands, tiny feet, and a little tiny androgynous scar clit dig. So we got that out of the way. We can see it off to for the greater good, to healing by action, because action is required, and of course to utilize all our forces and energies for the greater good, and for the security, prosperity, ensuring of freedom, which is a double-edged sword, with responsibility on one side, obligations, duties, and responsibility on each side, obligation, duty, and responsibility, and to work for the greater good and to have solidarity such as emergencies as is now in the Maritimes and Atlantic. Your story you don't have a dragon. These are the 11 principles, and now we're gonna go to the what have written here in nomination. I'm gonna write a letter to the aforementioned institutions. Gonna contact labor unions, gonna contact labor unions. And this is my letter to labor unions in Canada. But first of all, we're going to check, before I read it, before I forget, we're going to check the distance from Montreal to Halifax. Montreal to Halifax. The distance, because I said it's a few hundred miles, a few hundred miles, a few hundred kilometers, but it could be 1,000 kilometers. It could be more than 1,000. It could be 100, hundreds of kilometers, hundreds of miles. Let's see. Oh, it gives us there. So it will be a drive because there's a bridge. Of course, there's a rail of light traffic. By train, when I did it with my sister, it was 25 hours of train. 25 hours of train. I had a few stops, quite considerable few stops, but it was 25 hours, so more than a day. Hell of a train ride. It rocked, one of the best. I loved it. So it's estimated here that it's Montreal to Halifax by this light traffic here, but the internet by car, it's 1,239 kilometers. So it's 1,239 kilometers from Montreal to Halifax. That way. It's 1,239 kilometers. And of course, it's by bus or via rail. Via rail is, of course, if we leave now, whatever, it's about the same. Or by bus, it's more. If it's estimated by bus or selected routes, anyways, by car, it's different routes. So it's 3 different routes which are shown. One is 1,000, the shortest, it's 1,164 kilometers. This is by car, by the road, by more the south. That would mean crossing into the US though. So the shortest route would be crossing into the US. So it would be 1,164 kilometers. 1,164 kilometers, 12 hours and 17 minutes estimation. That's, I guess, without, you gotta stop this. Stop a few times, so it'd be probably more, but I'm assuming this is the calculation without any pit stops, direct, the estimation, so we'd have to add, because driving 12 hours straight is dangerous, right? It's dangerous, 12 hours straight. Some people can do it with coffee, pit stops a little bit here and there, half an hour rest every 4 hours or whatever. That's what I would do. I would separate it in 3-4 hours and half an hour rest for some coffee and another 4 hours. That's how I would do it, 4. And of course with half an hour in between each 4 for a cup of coffee or some food or some stretching of the legs. A to B. Montreal, from my home city, Hawk Island, Montreal. 1,164 kilometers. It's 12 hours and 17 estimated by car. That's the shortest route, which means passing south through, we have to cross the border into the US, the Bay of Fundy, then to St. John, and at one point it's the same bridge that we have to take. All 3 have to take the same bridge. Or another one is estimated at a little bit shorter in time but longer in kilometers, interestingly enough, 1,239 kilometers, and goes a bit east north a bit, 1,239 kilometers, or 11 hours and 37 minutes. And then we got 1,300 kilometers, which is the most in terms of kilometers, that goes a little bit around through all the way to Rimouski, to close to Quebec Gaspé National Park, and it's 13 hours and 26 minutes, 1,300. So 3 routes are given by car here. One would require the passing through the US though. The other 2 close to the border but not going into the US, but one of them is shown as passing through the US border. Passing through, not Vermont, that is the passing through Stratton in the US. Stratton, and then Bangor, Bangor, and going all the way to St. Stephen, St. George, then crossing back the border. But it does require crossing into the US there, a little bit into the US of A, into Maine, right? Maine, yeah, that's Maine. Maine, US, yes. Maine, it's a US state. US state of Maine. The capital is Augusta. M-A-I-N-E. There's a state of Maine. So it will require crossing in through Maine. Like that name. What my Maine. Maine, M-A-I-N-E. It's not M-A-N-E, but it's M-A-I-N-E. So it's a play on words. Let me do a dance for Maine. With my mane, with my mane. Lion's mane, lion's mane. Do a dance crossing for Maine. So those are the options there that are given in this circumstance. And I'm going to read the letter and then we're going to wrap it up because my anonymous sister is going to do some. I'm going to call. Need to clear the waves, clear the waves, clear the waves. But this is what my letter to the unions that will contact now. The unions. It would be, dear reader, first please receive my wishes for health. That's her health. Health is important. And second, I'm a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist. I am a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist. So what? Got social, philosophical, political philosophy. My social political philosophy is a universal revolutionary centrist, a pro-labor universally revolutionary centrist, pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist, independent athlete, people's athlete, artist, activist, geopolitical analyst and theorist, world peace advocate, and the initiator of the Global Dragan Union, and the 21st Century International Workers Alliance. Third, I am writing you in order to invite you to a cooperation, partnership, collaboration, and alliance thereof for the greater good. Have hundreds of, for the greater good. Have hundreds of workout videos. I've created my own physical training program, of which you can bet that after 3 p.m. we're gonna work out, train, exercise for those Maritimes, for that Atlantic, for those Maritimes and Atlantic. We're gonna work out, train, exercise, do push-ups in solidarity with the Atlantic provinces, the maritime provinces of New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and of course Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, Labrador. Not only the Maritimes, but now the Atlantic also has been hit, Newfoundland and Labrador. I've created my own workout program, training program, which requires no equipment. Have hundreds of workout videos, philosophical videos, art videos, rock and roll for the East Coast. For the Maritimes, go, relief workers, Dragan got you. Love you, kiss you, hug you, Dragan got you. Love you, kiss you, hug you, Dragon's got you. Love you, kiss you, hug you, Dragon's got you. Art videos, rock and roll, and rap videos dedicated to the workers, and videos discussing my theories. Rap for the workers, rap for the farmers, kiss them, hug them, bless them. Rap for the farmers, rap for the railway workers, rap for the construction workers, rap for the farmers, rap for the farmers, rap for the butchers, the nurses, the doctors, the daycare workers, rap for the farmers, thank you for the food, cooks for the bakers, for the butchers, grocery store clerks, warehouse workers, steel toe boots wearers. Love you, cause you're gonna rap and rock and roll for you. Gonna rap and rock and roll for you. Gonna rap and rock and roll for you. Rock and roll and rap videos dedicated to the workers and videos discussing my theories. Hundreds of workout videos. I've created my own physical training program which requires no equipment, philosophical videos, art videos, rock and roll and rap videos dedicated to the workers and discussing my theories. Thus, I'm inviting you to a discussion on how we can work together. How many ideas have many ideas on how we can take action via art, philosophy, workouts, or love in all pro-labor matters. Thanks for your time. Then the address is the Facebook groups, Universal Dragan Union Facebook groups, Universal Dragan Union Facebook groups, using Universal Dragan Union, Age and Age, Dragonborn, being reborn, died during COVID, being reborn, Adrian Hana Dragan, died during COVID, Adrian H, Dragan died during COVID, being Adrian Hana Dragan, reborn, Adrian H, Dragan died during COVID, being reborn, Adrian Hana Dragan, yours truly. Dragan is pansexual founder of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragan Kingdom, of the Global Dragan Union, calling all willingly living, calling on all willingly living. Love is action. Right for the Global Dragan Union, for yours truly, Dragan Zero. Type, love you, kiss you, hug you. Talk about those kisses that got for my allies and armies, and the hugs and the ramp and the XYZ. Yours truly, Dragon's monkeys. Love you, kiss you, hug you, Dragon's monkeys. Love you, kiss you, hug you, Dragon's monkeys. I can do the monkey. I can do the monkey. Where's the key? Where's the key? For the harmony, for the love. Love is action. See. Gotta do push-ups, squats, hawks, pro-labor, universal revolutionary, centrist, independent, LGBTQ athlete, artist, activist, philosopher, geopolitical analyst and theorist, independent psychological analyst and theorist, world peace advocate, and the world's greatest living dancing millennium rainbow poet. And that is yours truly, with some brain and some muscle and other things, mediocre, average, so-so. And I'm saying go, go, go now to all the those involved in the relief efforts, all those involved in the relief efforts. Love you, kiss you, hug you, and again, I'm grateful, thankful that my rent is paid in full, my electricity is paid in full, fulfill my duty, obligation, responsibility to fully pay my rent, fully pay my electricity bill, my obligation has been fulfilled, pay my rent in full, fully pay my rent and pay my electricity bill, double trouble, two bills, electricity bill and rent has been fulfilled, I've paid it, and this 27th of September open for business. Gonna wrap this video in about 93 seconds and of course gonna check if got my first donation, dollar donation via PayPal, if making an offer for commission responses for those knocking on the doors of which I knock, to art institutions, to organizations, to of course NFL, CFL, CFL, NFL, CFL, NFL, drill, Dragan, deal, defense, offense, yours truly, the people's athlete. It is almost 1 o'clock and my sister's gonna go do her work, so I'm gonna go log off by saying love you, kiss you, we're Nova Scotians, love you, kiss you, hug you, Nova Scotians, New Edward, Prince Edward Islanders, Newfoundlanders, Labradorians, and of course New Brunswickers. That's been a special coffee with Dragan. First part, more second part. We're gonna continue do and now after this I'm gonna write to labor unions in Canada, US with what I've just read. Contact them for the Global Dragon Union.